Welcome to Daniel and Revelation. We are now in the book of, in chapter 5 of the same book, Daniel. And our topic for this day is the writing on the wall. Okay, what is it? What writing was it? It's very amazing. Many years later, King Belshazzar gave a great feast. Okay, in other words, Belshazzar made a party, and that was attended by a special men of Babylon, the noblemen of Babylon, all the officers, high officers, including his wives and his concubines. And because of pride and authority of King Belshazzar, he ordered to get the holy vessels in the temple that was taken by King Nebuchadnezzar from the holy temple of God that was only intended to be used for holy holy programs, holy activities. But that moment, while they're having the party, drinking wine, the king ordered his men to get all those holy vessels and they use it for their drinking of wine. They became drunkard. They drank. And unfortunately, upon doing such things, the Lord in heaven for sure was not happy about what's happening. Naguol ang Ginoo nagtanaw. He was not happy that his holy vessels were used for ordinary programs. Unya gihugaw-hugawan, gigamit ang iyang holy vessels. Now, suddenly, while doing such things, nag-inom sila. They saw a handwriting on the wall. It's very unusual. The hand has no body, only a hand writing on the wall, and the writing says there, many, many taken up her sin. It was an amazing. It was amazing. Why? Because that was those things are having a Babylonian dialect or words. It was written in Aramaic, not in Hebrew. But unfortunately, those writings were not read by the wise men of Babylon. Ila man unta nga sinultihan, ila man unta nga pagkasulat, but they did not understand and they could not even read it. Good. Even though the king was worried of what is happening. Because, kisa man pwede malisa nga nagkurug-kurug na iyang kabatiis, iyang kamot sa kalisang. Wa ginakabasa. Even he himself could not read it. When the grandmother heard about it, she went right away to the king's hall. And then he told the king to inform him that there is a wise man from the captives, Daniel. Because if you can remember, during our study in the book of Daniel 2, the king or King Nebuchadnezzar saw a dream, an image of having a very tall image, having made up of different metals. And then the wife of King Nebuchadnezzar, who was still alive during that period, had remembered that there is a wise man captive from Babylon whose name was Daniel. He called right away Daniel, and then he offered to Daniel that if he could read it until the meaning, the interpretation of that dream, he will promote him to the higher office of being to become the third highest officer of the kingdom. And aside from that, he offered many things. But you know what? When Daniel heard about those things, Daniel told the king, "O king, please give it to others. Never mind to me. Do not give it to me. Give it to others." And the king, and he interpreted the writings. He read. It was, remember, it was an Aramaic word. It's not Hebrew, but he read, being the wise man, and his knowledge and wisdom is not from ordinary wisdom, but it is from God. Okay? Now, here, many taken up harshen. Meaning, okay, gitimbang ka o hari, o gikaplagan doon na kay dakong kakulangon, o tapuso na ang imong gingharian karon. Okay, simple nga pagkabuhat sa Pinisaya nga paghubad, no? Right. Now, the king ordered to have this attire ngayang gisaad katong inyong pagkuha og linen nga ikupo kan Daniel katong sinina nga pagkahari, the third highest officer of the kingdom. Okay, gisulutan nas ni Nebukadnezar ni si Daniel. And then what happened? Okay, and that very night, the Medo-Persian soldiers tried to remodel the passageway of water katong gihimo ni King Nebukadnezar nga alihan ang block the original passageway of the water katong sa river. Okay, iyang gipaditor paingon sa iyang gingharian para magkural sa iyang gingharian. It was changed. Gitsiradawan ang tubig nga nagditor paingon sa kingdom katong river of Euphrates, sa Euphrates River. Gibalik, giablihan ang ali dito sa regular or natural passageway of the water. And then gisiradan ang passageway katong detour going to the kingdom. What happened to the kingdom now? What happened to the water? Oh, ninghubas ang tubig, mabaw na lang kay according to the world history. Naglakaw ang mga sundalo nga mga Persians diha sa tubig nga tagapaan na lang. Mabaw kayo. Why? Ilan namang gipawbas ang tubig? No one in the kingdom believed that there will be another kingdom who will follow. Why? Ligo na kayo, taas ugol ang kingdom. Then napay tubig nag-ali that if there is a person or an enemy that will come to the kingdom, he should pass through the wall. Oh no, the gate, the main gate. There's no other gate. But during this time, while they were having the party, after the interpretation of the dream of the king, oh no, after the interpretation of the writings on the wall, you know what? The soldiers of Medo-Persia, they rush going to the hall, to the party hall, and look for the king. Then the king was killed. And that is the end of the Persian, that was the end of the Babylonian kingdom. The kingdom was taken now by the Persian. Alright? Now, let's try to make a short look, a brief historical note. Okay, kings of Neo Babylon. Nabopolassar founded the kingdom. It was not King Nebuchadnezzar. Now, let's try to make a look, a brief historical note. These are now the kings of the kingdom of Babylon. Kings of Neo Babylon. The first one is Nabopolassar, the founder of the kingdom. Then, successor, Nebuchadnezzar. He extended the territorial jurisdiction of the empire. Much construction of the development of Babylon was done during his time. Amel Marduk is known as the evil Merodach. Then Neriglissar, Nerfa Ser Usor, Laburus Sertud, Labsni, Marduk, Nabonidus, then Belshazzar, then letter B, then Nabonidus and Belshazzar. The identity of Belshazzar and had been puzzled of centuries to Bible students or Bible scholars. His name is found in the record of secular history instead of the name of Nabonidus had been prominently mentioned as the last king of Babylon. Hence, Belshazzar's name, as recorded in the Bible as king, has been accepted as unhistorical. In 1924, Nabonidus of the British Museum, in which a statement is written that Nebuchadnezzar entrusted the kingship of his son Belshazzar. Babylon historical text that is found in the book, page 88. This context was a severe blow of critics. Nebuchadnezzar entrusted the kingship of his son before he went to Lima in western Arabia, campaigned against it. The Bible is therefore right in saying that he was a king. The second, the feast. The feast was an unusual celebration of the Babylonians. The king had the chief lords called for the occasion. They drank from the vessels taken from Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar. Handwriting on the wall. Part of the hand was seen writing on the wall. Terror and dark forebodings struck the king. Astrologers, Chaldeans, soothsayers were called to read the writing but failed. Daniel was called by the suggestion of the queen, the king's mother or grandmother. Daniel reminded the king that since he had knowledge of Nebuchadnezzar's experience, he should have learned the lesson of humility. Daniel read the writings. Many tekel up her sin. Many means numbered or counted. Tekel means weighed. Then peris, upharsin is plural, meaning divided. This means that Babylon had been numbered, weighed, and found wanting. Hence, it must be divided into pieces. The fall of Babylon. Daniel was accorded the honor of the third ruler of the kingdom, but could not become effective because of the quick succession of events that followed. That very night of drunkenness, the merriment, the Persian under Cyrus made their way to the city and overpowered the drunken defenders. The kingdom fell in 539 BC. And that is the fulfillment of the prophecy in the book of Daniel, the prophecy about Babylon, what was happening, and that was already taken by the Persian. And this was also starting that the prophecy of Daniel 2 was now fulfilling. That even though how strong was the kingdom of Babylon, it was taken by a weaker kingdom, which is the Medo-Persians. And this prophecy now is fulfilling. Let's study more for next chapter next time. Thank you for listening.